You know, the world of free-to-play online games, it's absolutely massive. We're talking about an industry that pulls in billions of dollars a year, mostly from games that don't cost a dime to download. But that begs the question, right? If the games are free, how on earth are they making all this money? So just how big are we talking here? Well, get this. By 2029, the online gaming industry in India alone is projected to be worth $9.1 billion. I mean, that is a staggering amount of cash. And you've got to remember, almost all of it is built on games that are advertised as, well, free. And that right there is the big question we're diving into today. If the game doesn't cost anything up front, what's the real price you end up paying? The answer? Well, it's a super controversial, but also incredibly profitable model that's totally changing the game. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with what's called the pay-to-win problem. Then we'll look at how governments are starting to push back. And finally, we'll wrap up by exploring what this huge fight means for the future of how we all play. All right, first up, the pay-to-win problem. Let's really dig into this multi-billion-dollar model that's at the heart of this entire debate. Okay, now I want you to really focus on that phrase right there, dark game design pattern. This is not some accident or a simple feature, okay? Pay-to-win, or P2W as it's known, is a very deliberate strategy. It's about building a game where spending real-world money gives you a huge and often an unbeatable advantage. Okay, so we've all heard players complain about pay-to-win, but does it actually ruin the game experience? Well, a really fascinating study from 2025 decided to find out, putting it to the test to measure the precise impact these things have on us, the players. And let me tell you, the findings were pretty stark. Players felt like they were being manipulated. You know, those rewards you grind for, suddenly they felt cheap, unfair. The game's difficulties stopped feeling like a fun challenge and started feeling like an artificial wall designed to make them open their wallets. Basically, that core feeling of fair play and freedom, it was just gone. Now, this chart right here really shows the most dramatic finding. Look at that bar on the far left. That's a massive jump in how manipulated players felt once pay-to-win was introduced. And at the same time, look how their sense of appropriate difficulty just plummets. The bottom line is this: pay-to-win just fundamentally shatters a player's trust in the game itself. All right, next up, India draws the line. And you know, this feeling of being manipulated, it's not just chatter on forums anymore. It has gone all the way up to the halls of government, and it's triggering some massive real-world consequences. So in 2025, India's parliament decided to step in, passing this landmark bill to regulate online gaming. It's really one of the first major attempts by a global power to draw a legal line in the sand and rein in these exact kinds of mechanics we've been talking about. So what does the law do? Well, it draws a really sharp line. On one side, it actively supports things like legitimate esports and games of pure skill. But on the other side, it brings down the hammer, completely banning any online game that's built on real money, on betting, or just on pure random chance.
And this whole thing really hinges on a critical legal difference. So a game of skill is pretty straightforward. Your success depends on how good you are. Think strategy games, competitive shooters, that kind of thing. But a game of chance, well, that's all about luck. And under Indian law, that gets treated just like gambling.
Okay, on to our next section, winners and losers. Because look, when you start making laws for a multi-billion-dollar industry, you don't just create rules. You create a high-stakes battle with some very clear winners and some very clear losers. And believe me, these rules have some serious teeth. If you're caught offering or even just advertising one of these banned games of chance, you're looking at severe penalties. We're talking years in prison and fines that go way over $100,000. The message from the government is crystal clear. The stakes here are incredibly high. Now this chart gets right to the heart of the whole conflict. See that huge slice? In 2024, a whopping 86% of all online gaming revenue in India came from real money gaming, which is the exact category this new law bans. This isn't just some small tweak. It's a direct threat to the industry's entire business model. So as you can imagine, the industry is pushing back, and they're pushing back hard. They're arguing that this kind of blanket ban won't just wreck the sector, it'll have this dangerous side effect of pushing millions of players toward illegal, unregulated offshore sites where they have zero protection. And that brings us to our final section, the future of play. Because this fate that's happening in India, it's way more than just a local story. It's really a preview of a debate that's coming for every country, and it's going to define the future of our digital lives. All right, so let's quickly recap the big takeaways from all this. First, we've seen how this free-to-play industry is a massive, multi-billion-dollar market. But it often relies on these pay-to-win models that are designed to feel manipulative and unfair. This has led governments like India's to finally step in, creating this huge clash between industry profits and protecting players. And honestly, this conflict is really just getting started. And all of this leaves us with a really fundamental question for the future, doesn't it? As these digital worlds and our real-world economies keep colliding, who should be the one writing the rules of play? Should it be the developers who create these worlds, the players who live in them, or the governments tasked with regulating everything?
Hey, if you found this explainer useful, do me a favor and hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe for more deep dives just like this one. Thanks for watching.